So I've been saying that there's plenty of evidence that shows there's widespread support for Hamas and what they did on October 7th in both Gaza and in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, okay? This is a fact. That's what we see from polling. That's what we see from first-hand evidence of of IDF soldiers, of hostages, of footage. We see widespread support for wanting to kill the Jews, basically. But I want to give you some evidence of signs of hope, because I do believe that even people with dark, hateful ideologies can change. I do believe that if the circumstances are right, if people can be given enough clarity, whether through events or through understanding, they can change. And I want to show you a clip of a doctor in Gaza. This was filmed just recently, as far as I understand, who has come to his senses and bravely condemned Hamas. Okay, he's clearly lost members of his family tragically in this war, and he's starting to put two and two together. And I want to show you the clip, and then we can react to it. And I say this as brave, by the way, because condemning Hamas in an authoritarian state is a very risky business.
أنا الحمد لله بكتفي ذاتيا والحمد لله حياتي غنية كويسة. نحن صامدين صحيح، لكن قيادتنا قيادة وسخة من هنا مستشفى شهداء الأقصى. قيادتنا ألفت الدماء، ألفت هذا الحال، ألفت حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل فيهم. اللهم إنهم نحن خصماهم يوم القيامة. اللهم ما أصابنا في هذه الأيام العشر، أيام الحجة، يا رب أستحلفكم بالله هذا المقطع يضل يروح للقيادة الفلسطينية. أنا شخص الحمد لله على مستوى من العقل والعلم والإيمان، أنا زي كافة الشعب، لكن تزعلوش، شعب جبان، والله يرزقنا. بصرت امبارح كنا في منع عنها وصل اوقفناها يا عم.
بس تعال معنا.
روح الاسعاف يا عم، روح الاسعاف. بس له حاجه يا عم.
يا رب بقى في قتل وانتوا اللي عندكم والله وتعالى قيادة لا تمثلنا والله لا تمثلنا.
So when I watch this, I actually feel very emotional, and I feel for him. Yes, Hamas victimized the people of Israel, but they victimized their own people as well. And I know that I say on this show time and again that we have to give moral agency to the Arabs living in Gaza. And we can't just say they're simply victims and therefore excuse everything. But he has shown an example. This is an example of someone having the courage and bravery to actually speak out. And there's so much brainwashing going on. There's so much that is pushing people to a place of hating Jews and hating Israel. But when some people start to speak up and start to have the courage to do so, it can really effectuate change. And that's something that I really feel I could see in this clip. So yes, there's a huge amount of hatred. And yes, there's a huge amount of brainwashing. But I do believe that there's nothing inherent in any of those people living in Gaza, perhaps aside from those who are just poisoned beyond help. But in the average person, there's nothing that should inherently mean they are hostile to Jews and hostile to Israel. It's just about whether they can get that understanding and that clarity. Now, Israel's primary job cannot be to try and de-radicalize another group of people that are not part of their society. That's their responsibility, primarily the Gazans. And it's great to see someone like him standing up and saying this and realizing the problem is not Israel. But at the same time, I do think it's important to realize that this is not going to be an eternal problem. People will wake up. And the other thing that's really important to see here is that he was invoking God, this man, and saying that this is not he's a studious follower of faith, and he knows in his heart that this total degrading of life that Hamas foster does not represent God. As Rabbi Sachs said in his famous book, Not in God's Name, they are celebrating death in the name of the God of life, hatred in the name of the God of love. It's wrong, and he knows it. And I imagine, by the way, that a lot of people there know deep down in the heart of hearts that it's wrong. And so this should give us a bit of a cause for hope. There's nothing inherent in these people that they won't be able to come round to their senses. Much of what they do is a result of a culture, an education system, and intimidation that pushes them down this hateful rabbit hole. And while, as I say, it's not Israel's primary job to de-radicalize a separate people, just as it wasn't the job of the Allies to de-radicalize Nazi Germany, our job was to defeat the threat, and then you can have conversations about de-radicalization. However, I do think that the Jewish people should still become clearer, even more so, in articulating these values, articulating who God is, who we know God to be. This is a religious people that we're confronting, and we should speak to them in a similar godly tone. We should express to a people who all regularly invoke God's name who God is, and say that we, the Jewish people, are God's chosen people, and he assigned to us the land of Israel to be our homeland through which we achieve our mission, and that every human being has a relationship with God and is here because they are necessary, and that we can all serve God in our own way, and we are guided by how to do that through the Torah, which we are here to share with you. And which, by the way, some of the tenets of Judaism, particularly around the notion of one God, one creator, Islam played a role in spreading. But we should talk in that language because it's a language that they understand. And it may just have a role, you never know, in finally letting the penny drop for them. I think part of the hostility that the Arab world sometimes has towards Israel is they think you're meant to be you claim to be the people of Israel, the nation of God, but you're not talking to us in those terms. You're always talking about democracy and international law and all these things. And so maybe they don't buy it as much. But if we talk to them in the tone of the region that we're in, I have a funny feeling that they may react in a very different way to what we've seen. I'm Ollie Anisfeld and you're watching JTV. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.